Well, we're at a local pull-apart salvage. This is something you definitely don't see every day. It says it's a 90 Camaro. I haven't seen one of these, but to top it off, I mean, there's another one sitting here. It's got a small block in it, but looks like somebody snagged the transmission. Oh man, need a floor pan? So I'm looking for that solenoid for my pickup, and I was hoping I could find some early 90s TBI Chevys, but haven't seen one yet. This is not looking too good. '89 Oldsmobile. I got a whole bunch of cars missing. Here's a 90. Hey, 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 looky there. How awesome is that? I gotta figure out how to get it off there. Well, I happened upon an '88 Chevy van, and it had the solenoid on there, but it also had the piece for the cruise control, which I don't know if that'll work on mine or not, but I'll try it. Yeah. I might actually get that plug wire divider off there because a couple of mine are missing. I'll work on that, I guess. Man, I tell you, it is hot. It's supposed to be 96, I think, today. I think I came out here early, but I still got to go work on the truck and climb underneath it stuff. I was planning on going over in my lane just to pull in, and it's wide enough for 2 or 3 cars. Anyway, that's where I went. Danny's U-Pool. There's always planes coming over right here to the airport. Last time I was out here, I seen some fighter jets going by. It's pretty awesome. This is all airports and aircraft type stuff out here. Tulsa, anyway. Alright, well, headed home. Alright, this was a mess. I still haven't put a timing light on it yet. I just got it kind of by ear where it's going to be. These are kind of unique to have to time, but so I got a mess down here. I forgot to tighten up the transmission coolant line at the radiator. And as soon as I seen the drips down there, I knew what it was. So I tightened that up, and then I took the cap off. I let it run for about 5 or 7 minutes, and I took the cap off, and a little bit of antifreeze spilled out, and so I got a mix of both down there. But I forgot to tighten up this line here to the radiator, and I knew it as soon as I seen that. I was like, oh crap, I forgot that. Well, it wasn't all that simple. What you're seeing here, I got this thing all together yesterday, probably, I don't know, 2 o'clock-ish in the afternoon. And I think it was around 4:30 that I decided I was done, because I couldn't get it to start. That thing did not want to start for nothing. It was turning over and over and over just fine, but it would not fire. It was, the fuel injectors were squirting fuel. I put a different spark plug wire with a brand new Autolite plug that I have on the shelf. It's just for testing fire. So I took one of the wires off the cap up there, and I hooked on my blue spark plug wire with the Autolite plug in it, and I run it up through here, and I had it sitting up here grounded on the wiper arm, because, you know, I'm by myself. I have to be able to see if it's firing when I'm cranking the engine, and it was firing. So to me, I had fuel and I had fire, but it wasn't running, and I didn't quite understand that. So I come out this morning fresh, and I have a plug-in on the module that it has 2 connectors on the module on these distributors. It comes out the side, and it has 2 big plug-ins on it. There's pins, you know, on the module, and those plug-ins go to that. Well, one of those plug-ins, the lock tab is broken off. So I got to thinking maybe that wire come off, which yesterday I kind of put my hand back there, and it seemed like it was still connected. So today I did a little bit more investigation, and I took the coil back off to get it out of the way. And I turned the distributor way this way to look, you know, down in there at the pins with the flashlight, and one of them was bent over. So I got the pin pretty well crooked on there. Now, I fixed that with a different module. I had a brand new module here in the box. I had been running it behind the seat because the old original GM one I had in there still been going. The other thing I did when I was messing with the distributor, I actually gave it quite a bit more advance than what I gave it yesterday, and when I reached in there and hit the key, it started. So I don't know if it was a combination of the two, or if it was just the timing advance, and maybe the connector was still plugged in even though it was bent a little bit. I don't know. So long story short, it runs now, but there's something weird going on, which I still have to time it with the timing light, and these are pretty odd to time, you know what I mean? But for whatever reason, when I give it a little throttle, the idle stays really high for quite a few seconds before it comes back down like it's got a vacuum leak, and I know everything's plugged in. I did notice when I took that throttle body apart to rebuild it that the IAC valve, the pintle valve, is way away from sealing off in there. So I don't know if there's something up with the IAC valve. I just don't know. But anyway, I need to check that again. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug it for a little bit, plug it back in, and then I'm going to turn the key on and leave it on for a little while, and then shut it off, and then try to turn it back on for a second or two, and then try to start it again to see if that's what's up with that. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of weird, but I don't have a code. You know, the check engine light works on the truck because I had diagnosed it before off of it. So you know, I don't have a light right now, which is kind of odd. But if you've never timed a throttle body GM truck, these are pretty odd, especially the 87 square body. This one, I think the wire for to unplug and plug in for the ignition timing for the computer control it, it is unique on an 87 where it's at. On a pickup, it's probably the same up into the early 90s when they still run this body style on the Suburbans and Blazers, I think. But there's a plug-in right here, and it is tan with a black stripe, which was actually taped to the harness, and I took the tape off to unplug it. But you're supposed to, when you time one of these, you put it on 0. You time it on 0, and then plug that in, and the computer takes over from there. So that's how you time one of these. Now, I gotta say, when I first bought this truck for my father-in-law, it didn't run worth a crap. So I did a mega tune-up on it, and it still didn't run very good. It didn't have a whole lot of power, and I drove it for a few days, and then I'd had enough, and I got out of the truck with it running. I grabbed a hold of that distributor, and I just gave it all I had and turned it, advanced it, and the truck run great ever since. So, you know, you're not supposed to mess with the timing with it plugged in and all that, but that actually worked. But, you know, you guys did see my timing chain that come out of this engine. Somebody had commented that it was variable timing, and you would be correct. So I've still got the usual bugs, you know, crap that happens when you put something back together. But I had to quit yesterday because I was so upset. I was pretty mad because I couldn't get this thing to run, and it was 97, I think, degrees. And it's different for me. It's 97 degrees out here, but underneath this carport, it's like you're standing in an oven because it's a metal roof and it's dark brown on the top. So it just, the sun gets on it, and when you're walking through here, you can feel it on your face. It's so hot. So I have to stay mega hydrated, and surprised I haven't fell down from the heat. But anyway, I do stay hydrated. But anyway, I have the dang thing where it'll run now, but I'm not so sure about a test drive because of that. When you crack that throttle, it like revs up, just a little bit of throttle, and it revs up and stays up for a few seconds, and it's kind of scary. So I'm dying to drive it because I want to see how the brakes are now that I fixed the kinked brake line for the rear brakes. And I just kind of want to see what power difference it has from what it had before. I don't want to put any of the air conditioning stuff on it right now. I want to get it the engine lined out, make sure everything's going to be kosher before I hook everything up and charge it. That way, in case I got to pull the engine again, because I'm on a pretty bad track record here lately with engines. But man, it's been a mess. This has been a lot of work, and this was a hell of a lot more expensive than I thought it was going to be. But you know, I bought a bunch of stuff for the truck that I didn't know it needed, but you know, now it was pretty much preventative maintenance when you look at it that way. So I don't know, should be good. But the bad thing is it needs quite a bit more coolant, and I don't have any. I have some straight antifreeze, but I like to put 50-50 in it every time, and I don't have any. And I only use distilled water in my cooling systems on my vehicles. Regular tap water out of the hose will corrode your aluminum and stuff, so I'm not going to use that stuff. So I'm going to have to wait to go to the store and get some distilled water. But at least it runs, you know what I mean? It runs now. So I'm kind of amazed because I cranked on this thing so much yesterday, it got the battery down on it, and I had to put it on charge all night. So yeah, I can't catch a break, it seems like sometimes. But now I get to figure out why the idle stays high for a few seconds after you kind of crack the throttle a little bit. But I'm suspecting it's the idle air control valve, but I don't know. It's fuel injection. I hate fuel injection. Carburetor and distributor it's so easy to work on and simple to diagnose, and when you've got all this stuff, you know, it could be one little thing causing all these issues. But you know, if you don't have a check engine light or something, you don't know what the hell's going on. So it's usually throw parts at it, new parts at it, until you fix it, and sometimes that's pretty costly. So I'm going to go in, have lunch, and then come back out and kind of tinker on it some more.